Okay, today's video, we are going to talk about how many conversions should you have before switching to smart bidding on Google Ads. This is a question that I get asked so many times on this channel. I'm finally just going to address it in a video by itself. If you don't already know or watch my channel already, you should already know that I always advocate for using smart bidding every single time. Maximize conversion value bidding strategies on Google Ads, or as people sometimes refer to them as TCPA, T-ROAS bidding. The reason for that is because Google's system all pretty much runs off of a machine learning algorithm nowadays, and the wealth of your account and how much money you can make with it, it really long-term is predicated on how much data you've built up in your account about who buys and who doesn't buy, given a keyword is not just a keyword anymore. When you bid on a keyword, there's 5,000 different people who search for that keyword, and Google is going to find out the small part of it that's a home run prospect for you every time, and then eventually just have your ad show up for them. And they get smarter and smarter all the time, the more data that you've built up in your account about who buys and who doesn't buy, and you can scale more and more and more, which is why when you start advertising on Google Ads, you should be cognizant on the fact that it takes some money to make money initially, but when you do break even, it makes more and more and more money, which is the reason why throwing a few thousand or a few tens of thousands of dollars even at it at the beginning is worth it, because you're going to make millions down the line. When you start out, you can't use smart bidding to your advantage, because smart bidding uses the past conversions that you've already racked up in your account in order to decide if your ad should show up for one person or another. And with no conversions, it's going to do a piss poor job for you. And practically speaking, what you're going to do, have a campaign that's failing to launch. Similar to how if you had a kid and you didn't feed him very well, he's going to failure to thrive. This is very similar to that. So what you're trying to do really at the beginning when you start advertising is, other than knowing that it's not going to be profitable until you rack up some data in your account, you're going to have to just spend money and tell Google, just run the ad regardless. I don't give it its conversions or not, just run the ad. And the byproduct, or in the process of doing that, they're going to find you some conversions inadvertently based upon your ability to narrow down the targeting enough to get to where there ought and likely is to be customers there at. And then through the luck of catching a few customers, Google can look at those customers and then, of course, get you more customers based upon looking at all the individual traits of those customers, how they all match up. Every user that uses Google knows that there's like 5,000 individual unique traits that they could have, and they look at the traits of your customers and how they match up, and then they get smarter about running your ads in the future. To answer your question about when you should switch over to smart bidding, generally speaking, I'm going to start my campaigns in manual bidding so that the campaign could get off the ground, get some damn clicks behind it. I'll usually, though, have enhanced CPC turned on. Why? Because manual bidding is like, if you need $2.01 to have an ad show up for a keyword, and you've got your bid at $2, it's just not going to show. Which, that's just not, the grand scheme of things, it's not going to help you out very much. Some people really like control over their investment. You can do that, but I'm not doing that. I'm looking at how can I get the campaign to the point where we can scale it as quickly as possible. So with that, I just want my ad to basically show up every time for these keywords, or as much as I can, to gather that initial data to get to smart bidding, and then we'll have smart bidding take over. So I'll have that set up with the manual plus CPC, enhanced CPC bidding, until I get to about 30 conversions. Okay? And when I say conversions, on the goal that I specifically care about at that time. The reason why you need 30 conversions, like I said, is because Google is not going to be very good at running your ads and deciding where it should run and where it shouldn't run on 2 conversions. They're going to look at the traits of those 2 people, and they're not going to draw very strong conclusions on who buys and who doesn't buy. The more customers they have to look at, the more sure they are about who buys from you and who doesn't buy, because they can, through machine learning, identify, okay, a person who buys from you, they visit this website before they buy typically, and they have this income, and they like fast food, and then da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's what you're paying for. That's half or more of the value of your ad spend when you start up as an advertiser and start advertising with Google. You want to get to 30 conversions as quickly as possible, because the real money is made once you switch over to smart bidding. That's when the results start getting really good. Before that, don't worry that your campaign's not profitable, Because Google, just to put things into perspective, if you're in a competitive market where there's more than just you running ads under your keywords, or if you're running display ads even for that matter, the other people that have been advertising before you and have been advertising for a while, they already got all this data built up in their account. Google already knows how to get them customers. Chances are their customers are likely your customers or customers you would want. So their system is apt to, when they see a customer that would be good for you, just to send it to the other guy instead of you, because they already know more certain terms that user can be sent to them and that user gets what they want from them than with you. So you got to pay just to show the algorithm that, hey, yeah, that customer is good for me. But not only that, but I can serve that customer better than them. That is a higher percentage of a person that has those traits that make them a good candidate to be a customer. I can get them to convert on my site at a higher rate than them. Therefore, that customer from now on that matches those and has those particular traits, you should send them to me from now on. Then you start getting all the money that the leading guy had for yourself. What you're doing is just paying, after setting up the right setup, that the traffic at a higher rate or get a higher click-through rate or both, paying for the system to realize it, and then you start getting all the people that Google knows is most likely to convert sent over to you, because they want to encourage you to stay around and help their users, because that gets users to want to click on ads in the future when they got a better overall experience from your market and from the ad space in your market, if you will. So with all that said, what I'll typically do on an account, given you need 30 conversions in order to use smart bidding, and smart bidding is always what you want, sometimes it'll take a long time to get 30 purchases. If we're selling $20,000 home dialysis machines, getting 30 purchases might take us 6 months. And if you want to speed up the time it's going to take to hit profitability with your account, then what you should do, and instead of just tracking the purchases, is track micro conversions, or in that case you could also track leads. But so what you do is you have this waterfall setup where you're going to track micro conversions such as FAQ button clicks, people who start a product quiz to help the person find the machine that's right for them, or people who add to cart. Why? Because you're going to rack up 30 of those conversions quicker than you're going to rack up 30 purchases. And because smart bidding gets you so much more superior results than manual bidding, you can actually have this period of time between the first month and the first 6 months, let's say, of running your account, where you can use smart bidding sooner than you would otherwise, trying to only track purchases and optimize for these other goals that correlate with purchases, and will get the algorithm to run more smartly for your account than it would otherwise. So you'll track these other things like this, stuff that correlates with purchases. That is, somebody who buys, they usually do one of these other things first. And if they do one of these things, they often don't buy, right? And you wait till you have 30 add to carts, and then you use that add to cart goal as your, under the campaign goal settings, you tell the Google for that particular campaign, you want to optimize for add to cart. That is until you have at least 30 of something else that correlates more strongly with purchases. That is, it could be 30 form fills, and then you eventually just go from telling Google to optimize for add to carts, but to optimize for form fills, because that more strongly correlates with purchases and profits from your campaign. And then eventually, once you've got 30 purchases finally racked up in your account, you tell Google on each campaign you want to optimize for purchases. And that'll get your campaigns ramped up quicker than just simply waiting around for 30 purchases on your account. Now, naturally, if you're selling a $20 broom, you don't need to do all that. The more expensive of whatever you sell is, the more this is going to help you out get to the end destination of profitability, initial profitability in your account sooner. Okay? And obviously, everybody wants to be able to get to profitability quickly, because you're dumping your own cash into the system to prime it beforehand, and you don't want to go broke beforehand, or just obviously you don't want to waste any more money than you need to. And then with that said, okay, the more established, because a lot of people think, do I need 30 conversions on each campaign or the whole account? And that kind of depends on where you're at in the grand scheme of things, or at least what I would recommend and what I do here at our advertising agency. Whereas the more established your account, the sooner new campaigns can be switched over to smart bidding. So respectively, either at the beginning, I'm going to have a bunch of campaigns, and then I'm going to switch all those campaigns to smart bidding all at once. If I come around later, launch a new campaign, if I've been advertising for 6 to 12 months, I'll start that out with manual bidding for a while, maybe get at least 10 conversions behind it. and then I'll switch it to smart bidding. If I'm already 3 years into the process of running that account already, that new campaign, I may just switch it to smart bidding immediately, or after just 1 or 2 purchases. More so usually in that scenario, 1 or 2 purchases. Why? Because I want to make sure my campaign's going to get off the ground and I'm not going to waste any time waiting around for impression. Eventually, you get far enough into it, 5, 10 years into the process, you may just, any new campaigns immediately go to smart bidding. Why? Because you've got thousands of conversions racked up in the account, and Google has a really, really good idea of who's likely to convert. At least if that new campaign promotes the same thing that the rest of the campaigns in your account does. If it promotes something different, or promotes even a whole new site, that is, especially, then you're going to want to go through and wait for 30 conversions on that new campaign. Hopefully that makes sense. So, and if you want to speed up the process of getting to where you're going to be able to switch to smart bidding and scale up the account, as a small side, given that you know now that Google system's all strongly predicated on machine learning, upload the customer data that you can to your account for Google to look at to see the traits of people that normally buy from you. If you take orders outside of Google Ads already, or have in the past, and let Google look at that to help get you to smart bidding sooner, and then the smart bidding to work better sooner than the process, like before you have thousands of conversions built up. I would always recommend that now. Before the customer list, uploading those to Google, it was just about Google identifying when a customer comes through and making sure you bid a little bit more, so you always get that person coming to your site because they're more likely to convert. Now it's that, yes, that's important, but it uses it for modeling and powering the smart bidding of your account before your goals have had thousands of conversions of their own to look at for their deciding if your ad should show up for this person or that person. So I would recommend that as a side. Going quickly back to what I was talking about before, you should set up a variety of goals, and you should switch to stuff that's easier to rack up conversions on quickly so you can get to smart bidding right away. Add to cart, start quiz, FAQ button clicks, then switch to like form fills or phone calls, and then eventually switch to purchases, because you're going to get to your end destination of making millions of dollars with your account sooner that way. You're going to give the algorithm more data sooner that it can really use to help you get the results that you're looking for. And in the grand scheme of things, you may have 1,000 of these add to cart, FAQ button clicks or whatever before you get 30 purchases. And that 1,000 conversions, by the way, is a lot of data for the algorithm that runs the ads to look at. It's actually lots better than 30. In terms of machine learning, the more data, the better the assumptions about, the better the predictions the machine learning algorithm can make. There's a big difference between 30 and 1,000 conversions. So even though an add to cart is not a purchase, and you're always going to do better, letting the machine learning algorithm look at purchases versus add to carts. But comparing 1,000 add to carts to 30 purchases, it's going to do a lot better with that 1,000 add to carts, comparing those side by side. So eventually, when you optimize for purchases, you set the campaign goal settings to optimize for purchases. What you do is you still have the add to cart goal marked as primary and the conversion goal settings. And the algorithm can use the add to cart goal as like a secondary note to look at to optimize your ads with, even though it knows, because you told it, to look at purchases as the first and primary thing. And what it can do is say, okay, we're going to get you a bunch of people that add to cart. Do that, and then we'll sit around and wait for people to purchase. And if they don't purchase, we'll kind of change what we thought we knew about, if we just send you more add to cart goal people, that you're going to get more purchases. And then versus with the purchase goal, it just can't make as many predictions as quickly, because with smaller data sets, it can only make so many predictions there to begin with. Eventually, when you get thousands of purchases, then this add to cart goal really becomes kind of like, relevant. There's a point where it becomes irrelevant, but it's in the thousands of purchases before that becomes irrelevant, because machine learning really does the best when you got thousands of customers that have been sent through the system and that you've tracked. And then along with that, I've talked about how in this video a lot of times that the better quality of the data and the more data you get into your ad account, the better your results are going to get. The quicker you're going to get the profitability, the more you're going to make, the better the ROI you're going to get. And that means if you've got any sales that occur offline, you get those offline sales into your account as well, because that's going to greatly affect how much money you're making with your ads. A lot of people just say, I don't need to get the extra 20% of sales that come through the phone in my account. Well, those 20% of sales are they're averaging double the size as the one that goes to the ones that go through the cart. And so now the algorithm's going to optimize for your piddly little purchases here and not the big ones you really want. So a lot of people just poo-poo anything that requires work. And what I'm telling you is it makes a big difference, and you can't complain about your results if you don't give Google the data about what's working and what's not. You truly can't. And you shouldn't be complaining to nobody to help you either until you've got that first thing out of the way. Because if you were, no offense, but you were to come to me and you didn't have all that data working to your advantage, it's like, what are you doing? Because that works every single time. Yes, you can make it as hard on yourself as you want, but why do that? If you want more results, you at least start there. If you have any questions about anything I covered here, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or a comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. You haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you absolutely should have. What are you doing, basically? Because the information I'm sharing with you on this channel is coming from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad testing for dozens of ad accounts that I manage, or should I say just do strategy on, because we have a team to help execute things at our agency, and I just do the strategy. And what works and what doesn't work, I share with you for free on this channel. It's information that's useful because 95% of the information you find elsewhere on YouTube and online is going to come from people who don't really run any ads. They're selling courses and they're pretending like they run all these ads, and they don't, or they run a couple ads. They don't really know what's going on. Trust me on that. So if you're going to pay attention to anybody, you want to pay attention to this channel first. You can also find my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog that I have has step-by-step instructions to bolt on specific strategies which are our go-tos at our advertising firm into your ad account and get the same results that we're getting. If you like the channel, you're going to like my blog as well. You should check that out as well. If you're looking for somebody now or in the future to help you get the results that you're looking for because you don't have the time to do it, this is what we do for people at our advertising agency. And we actually do not charge a fee until we get you a certain minimum lift in your profitability up front, whether that be 25, 50, 100%. And that is going to offset the fee that we charge. So, and no other agency out there does any kind of guarantee like that, which should tell you about the quality of the information we're providing you here and the service quality. Catch is we don't work with just any client. We got to know we can do well with your stuff before we agree to take you on. But if you want to see if we can work together, reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. Be happy to have a quick discussion with you and see what the possibilities may be. As a final note, we also sell ad templates. We've been running Guaranteed PPC for 10 years now. In the last 10 years, we've worked in over 100 niche markets. If we've already done all the heavy lifting in your market to figure out what winning ads, landing pages, all of it that work for your space, you can just buy it all from us outright, copy paste it into your account, get the same results we're getting. Way easier and cheaper and better than doing that than to have to spend all the money that we spent to figure out what works the best in your market. It'd be silly to do it all again when we can give you the winning version. And as long as you're in a different geographic area than our client, why not use it? So, and we can tell you the results you're going to get with it up front. Very least, you should see if we've gotten those results for your market and have a conversation with us about it, see what the possibilities are. We got people using these templates to start whole other businesses, lead selling businesses, or they wanted to get into e-commerce, so they took one of our templates, and it's like a turnkey business. You go get the product, you use the template, you get the product from China, you sell it in a country that our client is, and then you got a turnkey business. If you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at Guaranteed PPC, talk to me about it. That said, I'll wrap everything up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.